Welcome to The Hero Maker. In this series, we follow Richard's appearances on other shows as he talks about how to grow, play, think, and live like a hero. Join him as he discusses thoughts, principles, and life lessons, all essential for anyone building their heroic brand. All that and more, only on The Hero Maker.
How does that, like having 4 babies, right, and then running a virtual parent, obviously you will have 4 babies, you have our virtual business, and then relationship and all that stuff, and how does that personal life work? How do you work balance life, I guess is what I'm getting at.
So work-life balance is one of my favorite topics because I think a lot of people discuss it improperly, right? And so the metaphor that a lot of people have in their heads for work-life balance is that that law scale where they're trying to get their work and their life to balance out like this, right? And once they finally reach an equilibrium, they've achieved the impossible work-life balance. And I think that metaphor suffers because that's not the way reality works. The reality is that work and life are something that you do together, right? They happen together a lot. And the metaphor I've always liked was the metaphor of a rubber band, right? So a rubber band is a useful metaphor for the way work-life balance works because, a rubber band in its default state, it's just sitting there, doesn't do anything, right? But you can stretch it, right? And you can stretch it and you can stretch it and you can stretch it. You can actually stretch it really, really far. But there's a point beyond which, if you continue to stretch it, it breaks, right? And if you stretch it too far, it'll break and it can't ever be repaired, right? And this is where if you are, for the metaphor's purposes, working is the stretching of the rubber band. Right, and taking the time and the effort to put in and stretch the rubber band. If you can actually damage yourself, cause yourself health problems. I've done that before. I tried to at one point in college. I thought maybe I could get around biology and not sleep and work 24 hours a day. Because I had a full-time job and full-time school. I was trying to run a business, and I was like, who needs sleep? I made it about 3 days before I was puking in the, on the side of the road and almost dying. So you can't ignore biology. You have to actually take care of yourself as well. And so you can stretch the rubber band. And what's fun is when you stretch a rubber band, that's where you get forward motion, right? You let go of one side of the rubber band, you can rocket your business forward. So there's times in your life, times in your business, times in your health, times in your relationships with your family where you're going to put in a lot of effort, where you're going to stretch, you're going to do a lot of things, a lot of hard work. Like the last 5 days, my whole family was sick with the stomach flu. I haven't slept more than 2 hours in a row for a week or so because I have 4 kids who were throwing up and everything. Didn't go well. So sometimes you put in a lot of stretching effort, but you have to let the rubber band contract and rest as well, right?
Right.
And so what I like to say for the whole work-life balance thing is that sometimes you're putting a lot of effort, you're doing a lot of things. Maybe it's traveling. What we'll do is we'll travel really hard for a couple of days. Get from one place to another, and then we'll stay for 3 or 4 weeks, sometimes 6 weeks, and then we'll, so people they're like, oh, you travel all the time. We don't actually travel all the time. What we do is we move. We just every 3 to 6 weeks we just move our whole life to another location, and then we set up and live there for a little while, which I think is more apt. For what actually happens. We just move our life to a new location every once in a while. And so the same thing goes with your business. Sometimes, at this point in time, I'm in the process of pushing and growing, a new service that we'll talk about a little bit later. But I've had to put a lot of effort into developing the systems behind that and getting everything sort of working the way that it should work and looking the way that it should look so we can actually go to market with that. So that takes a lot of extra energy and effort. But once that's all done, then it's just bringing on clients, figuring out some of the onboarding systems, and it'll grow without a lot of stretching.
If you want to hear the rest of this discussion, please check out the link to the full episode in the description below.